Maybe. Sorry, we're a tiny bit late there because I was going to run this on the OBS studio, which allows me to share some videos with you, but it wouldn't. So we've gone live. We've taken the live over to the standard YouTube app, so you won't be able to see the videos I wanted to talk about, but that's okay. We've got some other things planned. Anyway, good evening. It's a bit bright, that light, Michelle. Is that?
Is it?
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's good.
I don't know. Does anybody think it's bright?
So just reflecting my glasses a little bit. So how are you? Lots happened the last couple of weeks. Sorry we haven't been online for what feels like an age now. We've just had some family commitments, which ended up taking up a lot more time than we imagined. And now I'm trying to get back into it. So let's just wait a moment. Michelle, you're going to share that out. 5 thumbs up. That's good.
Yeah, wow.
But I don't know if anyone's in. Is anybody in?
Is anybody lurking?
I feel like I've got a bit of a cold coming on. I feel a little bit stuffy. How is everybody? So good evening, good day. How are you? Just give me a quick hello and a quick sound check. Make sure the old microphone. We were going to go live on OBS Studio. I had some videos I wanted to talk to you, but it hasn't worked. But we'll get along. What I want to do is I'm on the equivalent of Uber Eats here. This
Relaxing music. Hello.
Oh, that's very bright. Okay, let's get that. So I put this light up behind me, but I think it's actually going to flood everything out. Bit of a faux pas there. But yeah, I've got basically the Grab app, which is like an Uber Eats. Good day, hello, relaxing music. Hi, Tony. Good to see you too. So I want to get and order some stuff. Now, the thumbnail here, you see the thumbnail. When I put my hand up like that, Michelle, you're completely gone now. This is not very well thought through, this live stream, is it? Hello, there's Michelle. There she is. No, there she isn't. There she is. That thumbnail is an egg coffee from here. We're actually in Hanoi at the moment. For those of you who didn't know, I came back from Taiwan to Hanoi to visit some family. My daughter was here, basically, and I wanted to come and spend a bit of time with her. And we just got completely immersed in doing stuff. And that kind of ended up that I was off YouTube for nearly a couple of weeks, I think. So apologies for that. But we are back. Well, it was about 10 days, maybe. So not so long. But it's good to be back. I'm missing Taiwan. Loved Taiwan. I mean, it was a fantastic place to be. But I thought, well, while we were here, we're getting ordered some stuff. So what I want to do is get as quickly as possible, because I want to get these orders placed. And so we can time how long they are to get here. And we found yesterday a really nice little healthy food place. We're trying to eat a little healthier again. So we found this, like, they do this lovely sort of wild rice and teriyaki type chicken. And I'll have a quick look. Let me bring it up and see if we can get an order. So open up the Grab. Mr. Eco Salad.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It does sound good, doesn't it? So that's the thing. It's all blown out with that. If I turn that off, no, I don't think we will, Michelle. But if I turn it off, you're going to find my face will go quite dark. So just bear with me a little bit. Can I make that more visible? There you go. If I tilt it like that. So Mr. Eco Salad. I'm going to order a rice box. So they do brown rice with deep fried chicken, brown rice with black pepper beef. They do salads. They do some great salads. I'm going to go with the brown rice with teriyaki sauce. Michelle, you want that chicken dish?
Yes, I'll have that chicken.
All right, we'll go with the chicken dish. So I'll explain to you. Look, I've got to find a way of just turning that off or down for a second, because let me see if I can change the picture profile, because it is super bright.
So bright.
It's good for me because I can see. Let's go picture mode and let's just see if I can crank it down just a little bit. Soft. Okay, we go. Standard. That one a little darker. Still can't see it. Anyway, so you trust me. If I bring it in right close there, you can see it. Okay. So they've got these lovely organic salads. that salad there is 33,000. It's on special. I think it's 50,000 Vietnamese dong down to 33. Great value, super value. So I'm going to order the, I don't know if you can see it there, teriyaki chicken, teriyaki beef. Michelle's going to go for the chicken, and I'm going to order one more dish. I want to try their smoked goose.
Oh.
Yeah, so that, you can see it there. You can see it if I bring it in close enough. So there, smoked goose. So let's add 3 of those to the basket. Right, what does that come to? Okay.
A lot in Vietnamese dong.
Lots, 197,000 Vietnamese dong. So brown rice with teriyaki, brown rice with smoked goose, and chicken teriyaki for Michelle. 197, but I got all these coupons. When I signed up for Grab, they've given me all these coupons. So 197. Can you do that in maybe US dollars, Michelle, to give people an idea?
197.
So, yeah, so it's $197. Larry, how are you? Julie, Tony, relaxing music. Anybody else in? Just say hello so we know you're there.
We'll get to your questions when he's finished my order.
We will. 197 that, and I'm also going to order an egg coffee. Ooh. So I've got all these coupons. Look.
Okay, let's do 197. 197.
14,000 off. And you
$8.
$8. So you can stack the coupons. You don't. There's like a 14,000 off, 12,000. So I'm going to see how many. I'll add these coupons.
How many are they going to let you use?
There's a 15,000 there. That's a Grab discount because I've got Grab. I'm a super Grab user apparently.
Super grabber.
I've got an 11,000 offer, a 14,000 offer, and a 38,000. Let's add all these. Okay. Sorry guys, bear with me.
Bit of maths here.
Not maths, they do the maths for you. Okay, it's allowed me to add 3 coupons. So it's gone from 197 to 134.
134,000. Let's see what that is now. $5.49, so $5.50 US.
That's ridiculous. That's including delivery, by the way. I'm going to add another coupon. I'm going to be cheeky. See if I add another. There's a 5% coupon here as well. So I'm going to add that. Yes, it's let me actually add another 5%. So that's down to 124,000 dong. That's for $5. 124.
Yep.
$5. Okay.
And 8 cents.
All right, let's get them. They're 3.9 kilometers. So let's place the order. She's away. Placing the order. So processing the order. And it's all done. It's in the kitchen. It's with them. So let's see how long that takes. What are we now? We are 8 o'clock, 10 past 8 our time. So we'll see how long that takes. I'll just show you a little picture. This is a photo of what they advertise. So that's I think that's the chicken one. I just took a screenshot of that so you can see it. So it's a wild red rice. So delicious. I love my wild rice. Vegetables. You'll see. You don't want a salad. You didn't want a salad? I've ordered it now, so you can't have a salad.
I'll have rice tonight.
they do a smoked salmon salad. I had the same deal yesterday. I put all those coupons in and it was ludicrous. Very good value, including, now I always tip the driver when he comes. So we'll tip him a little bit on the app because we seem to have saved so much. I've got Grab Unlimited. So that's given me loads and loads of extra discounts like free delivery and what have you. So we're back to the main menu. Let's see if I can get an egg coffee. Now, searching for an egg coffee on here, I've actually put in egg coffee, and so the thumbnail is egg coffee in a cafe a few days ago when my daughter was here. And I want to, if those of you that haven't had egg coffee before, it's delicious. I love egg coffee. I've got actually a recipe. Maybe somebody will put a link down there, or Michelle can pop the link down for egg coffee. So if you want to make it at home, basically what you do is you're taking the egg yolks. Well, let's get an order. Let's order it first. I'll talk about egg coffee in a second. Otherwise, it's going to take ages to come. So first of all, I actually looked at a cafe earlier just to do some research. Let me see if I can find it. They had quite a good, so this one has 4.8 rating out of nearly 300. And let's have a little look what they've got. Do you want a salt coffee, Michelle?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. A white coffee, Mr. Omelette, most ordered.
Sounds nice, maybe.
Rich and fragmented broken rice vermicelli on Vietnamese fermented shrimp. Now, that's not right. That's not right. Now, this is one of those shops where they muddle up all their orders with. Now, much as the food on GrabFood has been quite good, the drinks generally are a little bit disappointing compared to what you might see if you were going into a restaurant. So I'm willing to roll the dice on that again. So coconut milk coffee, one of my favorites, delicious. Anyone got any requests? So we've got coconut coffee, salt coffee, egg coffee, regular coffee. There is Mr. Coffee, Mr. Omelette, which seems to come with shrimp and things. So I think that's actually an omelette, and they've just put, by mistake, they put a picture of the of a coffee drink. Oh God, a seafood coffee omelette? That can't be right.
No, don't order that one.
Just in case you think I'm lying, look, seafood coffee omelette. That sounds disgusting. Okay, that can't be right. There's something wrong there. Salad, green tea. This is more like food with pictures of drinks next to it. A blueberry milk caramelized foam, size L. Okay, so that's a large. I just want an egg coffee. So let's have a little look here. Let's see. I hope this place is open. I think it is. Okay, egg coffee hot. So I've already got one in the basket because I had a look at this just half an hour ago just to sort of see.
Tony says coconut coffee sounds great. Yes, that's my second choice. If you can't get me a salt coffee, Tony, I'll have a coconut coffee iced, please.
Coconut coffee ice?
Yes.
Do you know, I might go for, I'm going to go for 2 coffees because they're invariably a bit disappointing. So I'm going to go with an egg coffee hot and an egg coffee ice. And I'm going to make a note because I don't want to put loads of ice in. Let me see if I can just say, I wonder if they might, no ice. Let's go with no ice.
And that will be a thimbleful.
I don't care. I'd rather I don't really, because what they do is they just fill up the beaker with ice. Add that to the basket. Okay. So we've got 1 egg iced coffee, I think. Hang on. So 1 egg. Now they've got, Michelle. Whoops, I've closed the. Yet? No, you haven't got a drink yet.
Oh dear.
So I've got egg coffee hot, egg coffee.
That sounds like peas pudding.
This is harder than ordering the food, isn't it? And it's going to be more expensive. But anyway, that's fine. There's this one here. This is a milk salty. No, that's probably tea with boba.
No.
All right. Give me a second. There's a tropical yogurt. Tropical yogurt drinks. I did see coconut coffee, didn't I? Café Dua. It's here they call it Café Dua, and Café Mua is the salt coffee. So sometimes it's better to search the Vietnamese spelling, but I'm not sure I can remember the spelling, so I'm going to go through. Okay, coconut iced coffee. Is that what you fancy?
Yep, that will do.
And you're happy with just having ice as they send it?
Yes, I like my ice.
All right. I don't want a cup full of ice.
No,
No, nobody want
pretend
the
cupful.
nobody want the omelette coffee
No,
with shrimp.
with shrimp.
Let me read there's the omelette coffee. Omelette coffee. Let me just have a little read what it says. Oh, there's no description with it now.
Ah, maybe they've noticed.
What, in that few seconds? Okay. Oh, I've accidentally added the boba tea. Take that out. Remove. Okay, so we're up to 136. We're up to 136. So let's see if we can get some discounts. I've got a $29 discount, and that's worked. That's brought it down to 107. Add some discounts and see what we get. Only 2 discounts that are available for this order, but it's brought it down to 99. So what is 99? About $4?
Yeah,
maybe?
Something like that. That's Australian you're doing. Hang on.
Is that Australian?
Let's do it. Oh, press the right button.
So let's give these guys a chance and see how long it takes. We've got a egg coffee hot. Do you want another drink? Do you want a second drink?
No, that's fine.
No, you're good?
No, I'm good with my
Okay.
water. $4.
$4. And order.
Cool.
So it's in the processing. There we go. Whoops, got my credit card on there. You'll be all ordering. It doesn't show anything. So that one's, just turn the sound back off. So that one's in the thing. So they reckon they're saying about 9:15.
Hour?
It's only a couple of kilometers away. All right, maybe they've got to get the shrimp into the coffee. So that one's showing a bit weird. That one's a bit weird. That seemed to be taking a long time. So let's just let's see if that corrects itself. In the meantime, if we've got to wait an hour, we might have to put another order in. Yeah, the coconut coffee is a favorite of mine, Tony. I love coconut coffee. Michelle has started to like the salt coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And because the salt coffee, some of the pictures, let's see if I can find a photograph of with this light.
There's a couple of comments. Larry KP says, "Hi Steve from Ipoh, Malaysia here.
Hi Larry.
I like what's written on your t-shirt. I'm not rude either, lol."
I am not rude. Never rude, Larry. Never rude.
And Julie says, "Hi Steve and Michelle. My friend moved to Yogyakarta, Indonesia on the 17th and haven't heard from him yet. Is it a safe place? Have you been?"
Oh, Indonesia's super safe. Yeah, that's a coffee that Michelle had just a day ago. Was that a salt coffee? I think it was.
Possibly.
But I'll give you an idea of what a salt coffee. I'll go back and have a little look at. That's a salt coffee that Michelle had a day or so back. So
it's a salt cream, isn't it?
So the cream is a salty, almost like a salted caramel cream on a very strong coffee. So that's what we're expecting. I have consistently been a bit disappointed with drinks ordered off of this app. That's the coffee from the thumbnail. So that's an egg coffee, which has actually got a little chocolate decoration on top. I think there's another one there. So there's a couple of the egg coffees we had. Now these are about 40,000 dong a coffee. So that works out about $1, I think, maybe $1.20. There's the whole plate of them that we had when we were out the other day. So
Tony says, "I can only see the top line of your shirt, Steve."
Okay. There we go. There's the rest of it. And it's very true, apparently. So let's see how Grab do with our order. See whether the food comes way before the drinks. It's in the kitchen, and the drivers have already said, please wait. So I'll just put a little reply. I'm going to just say, meet you outside, because Michelle's going to be meet outside. So just replying, the driver's writing to me, and I always tell them I'll meet them downstairs. Okay, so I had this idea that we were going to be using OBS Studio, which is a sort of like an interface between YouTube and you guys. And it means that with OBS, I can sort of throw up some videos. And I wanted to talk with you about yesterday's video and show you some pictures. I was going to talk about the pork floss. I don't know if you watched it. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, I know a lot of you have missed will have missed it because when you get off of YouTube for a short while now, they do seem to penalise you and not tell anybody. So we're pretty low on the views. But I'll ask Michelle to put a link down.
I'm just about to do that.
Yesterday's video was a beautiful family that we met in Taichung when we were cycling around Taiwan. We met these. What happened is I arrived after a fairly hard cycle. We arrived in Taichung, which means, I think, central Taipei. So Chung, I mean, means middle. So we arrived in Taichung, and the very first night I went out, I had a chat with a guy on the door, and I said, where can we find some good food? And he said to me, oh, there's a place just over the road. They're super famous. They do these amazing dumplings. So I said, okay, I'll go over there. And while I was there was a group, and there was a lovely sort of chatty group that just were coming out. And I talked with one or two of the ladies in the group, as I often do. And they were just telling me how good the dumplings were, how good the food was. And then never thought much of it. Well, the next day we were walking through the market, and a lady came up to me and said, oh, we talked yesterday. And it turned out to be Natasha, one of the ladies that I'd spoken to, and she's a local who lives in or grew up in Taichung. They actually live in the US at the moment. A lovely, and her sister, who's a little younger than her, who grew up also there, but she now lives in Germany. So it was fascinating to meet them, and they just took us under their wing and suddenly sort of dragged us off all the way around the town. We only went out for a 10-minute walk to see if we get a cup of coffee, and we're going around the town. So this is completely impromptu. I think my hair was all still sort of stuck to the side of bed hair, probably not even properly awake. So there's Anne and Natasha taking us around. This is where when we were kids, we used to go and eat here. This is the market where we buy our noodles. This is the market where we buy our fish. And I was filming as much because they were super happy to be involved. They said, yeah, no, film. And I think one of the first things that they did was stop at a little scratch card booth. There was a guy with a crippled leg, I think, sat on the floor, and he was just selling the scratch cards. And of course, Natasha bought one card, scratching it off, and the guy helped. It was just one card, wasn't it, Michelle?
Yes. Yeah.
And the guy helped scratch it, and suddenly they won. It was like winning the lotto. It wasn't a huge win, but it was decent size. I mean, it was close to probably close to about $80 or something. But it was, it was a size 100 or 1,000.
1,000
local currency. So a pretty big win from a guy just sat on the street. So there was this uproar, and she won, and very kindly, because they're just the most kind and most genuinely friendly people that you often meet when you travel. She just said to the guy, and you keep half, I'll have half. So he got to keep half, which was really sweet. And I think those sort of things have a way of perpetuating in life, when you give, you receive. So that was our initial start. Then we went for a walk around. Do check out the video. If you haven't watched it yet, just let me know. Say in the comments if you watched it. I'd like to know if you've watched it. It's quite a long video. I was going to, the idea was that I was going to just do highlights and make a short video that would only be 10 minutes and you'd all be able to sit and watch it, while you had a cup of tea. But I thought, no, I'm not cutting a lot of this out, because some of it to me was quite interesting for Michelle and I to look back at. And some of it was a little bit sort of like, a bit sort of point of view, a little bit sort of uneven, a bit shaky. But I quite enjoyed it. And you liked watching it back, didn't you, Michelle?
I did. It was a good one. Yeah.
So we got up to all sorts of adventures, and there's actually a second video, which is a shorter one, which I might try and put up tomorrow or the next day, which is we went to the very first place that bubble tea was invented. So boba tea or bubble tea. We went to the home of bubble tea, which was, for me, was quite exciting, because I do like my bubble tea. I don't drink it a lot on the show, but I'm not a massive bubble tea drinker, but I really enjoy it. So to go to the very home, the very first birthplace of bubble tea, I don't think this is arguable. I think it's the genuinely first place. Where it all kicked off was quite exciting. So I've got a video. It's not really a video because we didn't plan it. Not that we plan anything particularly well, but I think we got some content there.
I mean, we're lucky we actually had the cameras that day. We actually just took them out just on the off chance because we were off the bikes. We just went for a walk, didn't we?
And I think this one, the bubble tea one, sort of ended kind of abruptly. So I'm going to find a way of like feeding an ending into it, because it just ended like with the, oh, that's lovely tea sort of thing. And then there was no, thanks for joining me, blah, blah, blah. There was none of that. So see if any of these orders, and if that one's still an hour away, I'm going to have to make my own bloody egg coffee.
Tony says, I love your t-shirt. I have to get one in my size.
Oh, the only thing I need on my t-shirt is big head to get me head through, Tony. So no, it's still showing quite a way off. But anyway, no, it's only about half an hour now.
Okay.
And that's
how's
getting
the other
better.
one doing?
You can't see. They're similar. They're both
similar.
similar.
Okay,
they're both similar times. But it'd be nice if they arrive at similar times, because otherwise, anyway, let's wait and see, and let's see what they're like. If you've used Uber or GoJet or Buy Me or any of the thousands of food apps around the world, this is the equivalent that they tend to use. Grab is the one that we use in a lot of countries around this area, so it's quite good. I think we had Grab in, I'm pretty sure it's in Thailand and Malaysia and possibly one or two others. I'm not even sure if Grab's in. I mean, sometimes places have got Grab, but they haven't got Grab food. Let's see how they rock up. They wear like a green uniform, green helmet. They also provide taxi services, same as Uber. So yeah, where was I? So we met these lovely girls. We did that little tour around. We saw a guy making pork floss. Now, pork floss is pork flesh. It's not the fat. It's generally the pork meat that is slow cooked and then shredded and then salted and seasoned and dried almost like a candy floss. So this guy had a massive cement mixer. I mean, a huge thing, and he was just turning it outside the shop.
It wasn't really a cement mixer, but it resembled a cement mixer.
It actually could not be used for cement, because although it was the size of a cement mixer, I'm talking about one of these ones used for individual sort of batches. So maybe, I don't know, a square yard of cement for want of a volume, but it's a big mixer, and he's there, and it's turning, and underneath there's a pilot light which he turned on for me, and it's got an indirect heat, a bit like a bain-marie or sort of a convection oven. So it's got an indirect heat underneath, and it's just gently sort of turning and drying out the pork meat. And this guy added something I've never seen in pork floss before, or at least I don't recall seeing it. He's adding in
seaweed,
furikake, like seaweed, like little bits of seasoned seaweed.
Oh, thank you, Larry.
Oh, what's that?
He's just given us $9.90 Malaysian.
Cheers, Larry. Coffee's on you.
If it arrives.
I think. I can't remember the rates, mate, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yeah, this pork floss. Go on.
And the 5 seasonings, wasn't it? With seaweed and the five spice powder he put in with it.
Was there 5 spice powder?
Yeah, I think you missed that little bit, but it actually does show. And so that's what it was.
Okay, so he's adding that. So that adds a whole new dimension to it. And then they gave us little samples and we were trying it. I didn't film it all, but we did. You do see me trying the samples. And
Larry says, small coffee for you.
Oh, thank you, Larry. No, it's beautiful, mate. Was there a question with it, or is just Larry sending us a
just
thanks?
Yep.
Beautiful. So yeah, we did that. We went to a few other places. We didn't film. We went to that really old. It's like a restaurant stroke coffee bar that's used to be a gold bullion place, and inside. Taiwan is one of the most beautiful countries. If you haven't been there, it reminds me of Hong Kong in the 90s, let's say, back in the earlier days of Hong Kong, when it was as it was before the handover. And it may even still be similar in Hong Kong. I don't know, but friends of mine that still live there say it's not quite the same sort of vibe, but it reminds me of that Hong Kong. Very modern, very clean, vibrant. energetic people, great food, fantastic food. If you haven't been to Taiwan and you've got inklings to come towards this part of the world, I would put Taiwan right at the high end of places to visit. People tend to always end up going to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. If your reason for traveling is just to go to bars and drink and just basically chill by the beach, then maybe those places are better, although Taiwan has good beaches. But I would say if your reason is to sort of see culture and you want really sort of the cleanliness that a lot of Southeast Asia doesn't give you, you know, here in Vietnam, if I go out in the streets, it's pretty hard. It's harsh, you know, lovely but and interesting but harsh. I would certainly put it there in the top 3 in this area of places you should go if you're a slightly more if you like the finer things in life. And I don't mean sort of like the luxury finer things, but you don't want to be sort of, you know, almost getting hit by bikes and noise. Just even now out there, I can hear all the horns and beeps and, you know, and what have you.
It's more organized, shall we say.
It's much more organized, much more. I get into trouble. People say, you know, it's rude to say compare it to Europe. Why not compare it to Europe? I mean, you know, it's not meant to be derogative in either way. It's a more it's the people there are, there's a much more sort of burgeoning sort of middle class of people, upper working middle class of people. So there's a lot more options for you. It's a little more expensive. It is a little more expensive, but it's fascinating, and the people are so friendly. And I would put that on the line, included in places like South Korea. Oh, I started doing that again, Michelle. I would do that in. That is really weird. That's a fairly new thing for me, where I do this and it does that. South Korea and Japan. You know, these are 2 other countries, and Hong Kong for that matter. If you've and Singapore, and you know, but I think it stands alone. Anyway, I digress. Let's have a little look and see if this. I'm hoping my drink's got a bit closer.
Is it a bit closer?
I don't want to. Oh, it's on the way.
Oh, cool.
It's on the way. Huh. And so they're both on the way.
Excellent.
Let me just put my glasses on. Yes. So that's better. So what's that little translation? Boss Coffee, train his order is being delivered. Okay, close that. Now I can track the orders. So that's the first guy. He's just coming. And yeah, I can actually see the map. And and the other guy is coming from much the same direction. So what I might do, Michelle, I said, let's send him a little message. Just reiterate, we'll meet outside again, to copy that and paste it. Send it to the other guy. Do you mind going down and just, do you want to hang?
I will go and get it when he's a bit nearer.
Can't be 8:50. It's saying it's 8:35 now, but that's only coming from. That can't take that long. Anyway, we will watch.
We will watch.
We will watch.
Ruby Slipper says, "Whoops, late."
Yeah, we will watch. Hello, Ruby.
And Tony says, for someone who is disabled, how would it be? I'm not interested in bars, but culture. I have a mobility scooter, but have to buy a helmet.
Well, who said that?
Tony.
Tony. I'd say it's one of the better countries for that sort of traveling. They have so much. I think it's. I mean, certainly, I wouldn't recommend coming to Vietnam.
We can't even walk around.
It's
Vietnam,
barely. It's hard enough just to walk. The most nimble person. I mean, you can get around Vietnam, but you're certainly not going to find it easy to get around many parts of Vietnam with any sort of mobility issues. And I think it's whereas Taiwan would not only be a lot easier, it would be also I think people would be very accommodating, and it's very calm. It's a lot calmer. So you can get, if you were going along a street and something was in the way, it's the sort of place they'd move it out the way to say, oh, come on through. Sorry, that shouldn't have been there. Whereas here, you'd just be like, on the main road. You just, there's no way you're going to get along the streets. Even more so, South Korea. Again, we were in, you know, there's so many great places to visit here in this part of the world, and I kind of have some regret that we didn't go to Taiwan a lot earlier. Let's just put it that way. And what I'm going to be doing shortly, I'm going to try and do more videos for you running up to Christmas. I hope you're all going to have a wonderful Christmas, by the way. We've got a few family issues that have come up that have caused us to procrastinate a little bit as to what we were doing. It might even make some fairly drastic changes to things. But, you know, life has these speed humps, and you've got to deal with them. So bear with me if I make a promise and say I'm going to do more videos and then just go AWOL for any length of time. I'll try not to. So, any questions there, Michelle?
No, I'm up to date with my questions.
Anyone got any questions? Want to know where we were? I can actually say that while we were cycling around Taiwan, we were also trying to plan and prepare to meet some family here in Vietnam. Now, eventually it turned out to be just my daughter and her partner that came to see us, but we still had a ball. It was a great time. And so glad that we had an opportunity to come to a part of the world and show people around an area that Michelle and I know very well. Actually, somebody said to me a little while ago, we should do a food tour of somewhere. You know, we should sort of meet up with some, you know, try to organize some group. What do they call those?
Yeah, event. It's not an event, is it? It's
no.
Tour.
What's a holiday called when someone organizes it for you? I've never done it. But yeah, tried to put on. And actually, a company did write to me literally this week and said, you know, we could organize this sort of thing for you. If you wanted to do, we could do sort of, I don't know, maybe if we could get, you know, half a dozen or so subscribers that wanted to meet us in Asia or Europe, or it's a possibility. I mean, I've always wanted to do such a thing. I think it'd be quite a lot of hard work, and I'm not sure that anybody would want to come, but it was quite enjoyable to have family here.
Ruby's helping you event. That's what I said. Ruby.
Event. No, it's a package tour.
Package, yes.
Like a package tour. So you sort of like everything's inclusive. You know, you kind of start, everything's taken care of. We
kind of did it a little bit for our daughter, didn't we?
But that's what I was saying. Yeah, I think it was what inspired me a bit. It was like, you know, with the family coming over, we tried to organise everything and get everything in. You know, get all our ducks in a row and I thought to myself, this would be quite nice if there was like a little select group of regulars. I don't know if anyone out there really cares for that sort of thing, or even would be able to afford such a thing. I don't think it would probably be that cheap. It certainly wasn't that cheap just recently doing it. But, you know, to have there are places around the world that, as we've traveled, where we really have started to understand the food culture. Like I can do a food tour of Hanoi because I know we did a food tour with a company last week, and they took us out and showed us the food of Hanoi. And the only thing it was good. I mean, it was good to a degree that I felt I could have done better. That's the only thing. I felt I kind of, oh gosh, I hope she's not listening, but I certainly could have done as well, and we certainly probably know as much about the food culture and food history and places to go here than anyone that puts on a food tour. And same could be said for almost anywhere where we've traveled regularly, whether it's sort of like Europe or US or Mexico or Thailand, Malaysia, any of those sort of countries, Australia. So that was just something that sprung to mind.
Larry says you're a good tour guide, Steve.
Yeah, I think we could make quite a good tour guide. But firstly, I'm not even sure. You know, when you do YouTube videos, and we've only got a fairly small niche following at the moment of people that love to follow us, I'm not even sure that we could muster sort of half a dozen to 10 people to be interested in such a thing. But anyway, that's what we've been doing this last week or so. We've been running around seeing all sorts of things. I didn't really video any of it, did I, Michelle?
No, we did talk about it beforehand, and then we just got completely immersed in the
we've
whole
been
thing.
in 5-star hotels and lakeside views and going on food tours and cooking schools and all sorts of things, and I've not filmed any of it because I just wanted it to be a wonderful experience for the family, and it just made me think. I mean, this isn't the sort of traveling Michelle and I are used to doing, because we're often running on quite a budget and being very careful about what we spend. But when we were sort of like thinking about doing this for other people, you'd probably say, no, okay, people want this, they want that, they want everything catered for. And yeah, this is the slowest bike. It hasn't moved.
As you know,
I swear he hasn't moved. By now, I'm not usually messaging him. Have you stopped at your dad's for a chat or what? I mean, it's meant to be coffee. I want it warm.
It's meant to be hot and cold. Tony says, I wanted to go to Vietnam because of the Christina Noble Foundation Children's Home, but I didn't think it would be a good idea.
I think, was that Tony?
Yeah.
I think Vietnam's a hard call, Tony. I think it would be, I would want to do it with, when you say about, you would need to be very careful about getting around. It's quite a hard place to get around Vietnam if you've got any mobility issues at all. There are other places where you probably would have just as much points of interest where life could be a lot easier, but it's only sinking into my noggin. Let's have a think about that. So they're both quite close, Michelle.
Are
but
they?
They're both, yeah, but they both seem to have stopped. I think they've bumped into each other.
And
I think one of them's chowing down on my rice and beef, and the other one's probably tucking into our coffee.
Yeah.
So let's see.
See what happens. See if it arrives.
So we've talked about this. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube friends of mine that do tours. I just don't think I've got I don't think perhaps I've got the discipline. I've got the discipline. Take that back. The drive to do it, because we've run businesses in the past. We're technically trying to have as easy a life as possible, and it does sound always to me like quite a lot of work. But it would be absolutely lovely to meet some of you. It would be
tick a lot of boxes to get it just right, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's a risk, it's a risk.
And it might not be.
I'd be very, but this company reached out, that company that wrote to us and said they could
was
organise it all. I'm never sure if they're in it for what they're in it for. So we'll over the next several years, I will give it some thought.
So and Ruby says, how far away is the coffee shop?
Well, it said Ruby 3 kilometers, so on a motorbike, not very far. But I think maybe this guy's going to rock up on a
bicycle.
Yeah, I mean the rice place was only about 3.5. I think they were both about 3-4 kilometers away. So let us see. We're good. We're all right.
Yeah, we will see.
I wasn't expecting a whole lot, so we will see. And it would have been even more annoying if it all rocked up 2 minutes later, I suppose, and we just sat there and we'd all finished our coffees. But I'm hoping my egg coffee, my hot egg coffee, is not just tepid or the eggs being cooked.
Well, I think it's all going to be tepid. The iced coffee will be tepid and the hot coffee
will
be tepid.
Stop.
Oh, Michelle, we'll see. We'll see.
Stay positive. I'm very positive about the food. I've yet to have one drink delivered in the years. I mean, I'm talking about Grab, Uber, almost every drinks company. When you order yourself, we had one a couple of weeks ago, and I looked on their website, and there was these beautiful cappuccinos, and they all had little sort of latte art on top, and all sorts of beautiful sort of drinks on their website. So I ordered one on Grab, knowing it might not be quite so good. Anyway, what turned up was a paper beaker with what looked like a cup of milk that had a coffee bean waved over the top of it, and about 16 gallons of ice. So it was basically, I think I put the straw in, one suck, it all gone.
It still wasn't full, was it?
No, it was, and even the coffee cup, the cup, it was one of those paper beakers about this big, but it was only about this full. So yeah, as a rule, that's my expectations. We will see. What else have we talked about? So we've talked a bit about, I was going to do this on OBS and share some videos with you. I will if I can just jump over there, I will say, has anyone told me whether they watched? I can't because I've got the white screen on. I've got a little white screen on up here, throwing some light back into the room.
So no, nobody's told me whether they've watched it or not.
I'm messaging these guys. It's starting to make me think they've stopped and do multiple pickups, which is fine.
So Larry said would be thrilled. I think he's saying drone delivery next time.
Yeah, actually, this guy's got a 4.9. That's always never a good thing. I know it looks 4.9 is still quite a high rating for a delivery driver, but generally, if they're good drivers, they've got 5 because people never complain about drivers that are quick. But there are a lot of drivers here where you see them coming along the map and then they just stop. Now you can think, okay, they're stopped at lights. No, not in Vietnam. They're stopped in traffic. No, not in Vietnam. With the motorbikes, they dodge in and out of anything, and they never stop at the lights. So he's quite close, though.
Okay, well,
very close. Come here, Michelle. Come over and have a little look.
Have a little look.
Drone would be good. Who's hitting the heart button? So what would you say?
Oh, a little bit, yeah, a little bit more.
Have a look at the other one.
Oh, quite similar, aren't they? Yeah.
So if you go down
now.
No, we'll wait a moment longer. You know what's going to happen?
He sends me down, though, standing there like a lemon, but eventually turns up. So you were talking about maybe doing more videos and.
Right. So yes, I think what we might try to do is we've got some really. I can't talk to you about every personal thing that's going on in life, but we've got some really tricky things going on at the moment. Nothing too worrying. Don't worry about it. But stuff that makes life a lot more complicated. So what I tend to do when that stuff happens is, firstly, I might sort of recede into myself a little bit and not do anything on YouTube, as I've probably done. Having the family here, it's kind of slowed me down. And then secondly is say, blast it. The only way you can get through these sort of things is to soldier on and push forward. So I might double down on what I'm doing. So what I thought we might do is, with Christmas coming up, we might be all over the world any minute now, and we might be just stuck here in this part of the world. So what I thought I'd do is document some things, go out, make some videos, edit some of the cycle series that we've just finished filming in Taiwan, and just kind of keep you informed and up to date. Talk about Christmas, what you're doing for Christmas, who's got their Christmas puddings made, who's got their Christmas cakes made, who's made mincemeat. If you haven't made mincemeat, you should have made mincemeat. If you don't like mincemeat, you should have made mincemeat. If those sort of things. Any questions? If people say to me, Steve, I really wanted to make mincemeat, but I don't know this or I don't know that, that's a good time to ask, because I might do a whole video on it for you, even if it's just sat here in the apartment talking to you about it. I'm happy to get back into sort of like, sharing information about what products you might want to make for Christmas. Have you ever done, have you ever boned out a turkey and a chicken and a duck and stuck one inside? So that's a little message saying they're nearby.
Yeah. I got to go down?
I would say yes.
Yes.
I don't recognize that road that guy. Oh, it's coming down the road up by the goat.
Okay, so yeah, I can go down.
So Michelle will go down,
there's a message,
and I will explain to you about the goat. Do you want to leave the sound up here, just in case you have to, And
Tony's done a little comment. You can do Tony's comment.
All right.
I'll do that.
And I'll explain to you about the goat. With family, it's more private as well. Have you got a key, Michelle?
No. Just going to put it to.
Okay. If she goes out, then I've got to open the door. Well, take your advice quicker than a guided tour and travel agents, because that's not what he said to me. Okay, Tony. Michelle remembers I'm a terrible reader, and she said, oh, will you read that sort of sentence that Tony's put there? Let me have a look. With family, it's more private as well. I would take your advice much quicker than, say, a tour guide. Yeah, okay. Well, that's kind of you, Tony. I mean, I do try to be very, I'm pretty honest, and I would say, going back to the Vietnamese thing, I would probably say, if you said to me, I need to do Vietnam and I have certain mobility problems, I would say, well, we can do that. We can do, if I was a tour guide, which I'm not, and we could come up with a solution. But if you went with an average tour guide, it would be horrible. I'm telling you, it's so hard, and you could end up just stuck in a place. The roads here. Sorry, I'm getting messages from Grab as well. Message. Right. Now I'm not going to tip him yet because I want to see. I got the tip thing. It's obviously being delivered. Both of them are being delivered. So that's actually quite lucky. So they're both down there. So I'm not going to, it stays open. Look, this little thing pops up. I'll show you. It pops up, your driver. Do you want to, and it'll say good rating, how many stars? Now, ordinarily, I always hit the 5 stars for all the drivers and then give them a tip if they've done a good job. This isn't America. We don't have to tip if they've done a rubbish job. Are they both there, Michelle? You got them both?
Yeah, but you were going to send me down twice.
All right, let's have a little look. So, Tony, you said to me, read Tony's question. You didn't tell me it was like a, me and reading. Okay, here's the rice dishes. Beautiful. Look at those. I love. Is it hot? Is it empty? Oh, is that my coffee? Oh, God. That feels like an empty paper cup. That feels like an empty paper cup. Oh, Lord.
You gave me that and I thought,
That absolutely feels like an empty. Now, these people send these lovely, and I've asked them not to. I put on there, I don't want cutlery. Tony was just saying she'd take my advice over a travel agent. Basically, that's what she was saying. I know what she meant.
I know. So
they send this cutlery, and it's quite nice. I will keep those for another day because I'm going to use my own cutlery. But it's quite good quality cutlery. Bear in mind, we've just spent, how much was it? $4 or $5 for all of this? It's madness. But it's the other thing, it's got a wooden spoon in here, and I can't do wood. It sets my teeth on edge. It's like blackboards. So, all right.
You all right there? Do you need a hand?
I'm just going to
let's move that.
Tilt this down a minute, and we'll do one. We'll just have a look at one. So look at that rice. Oh, this is black rice or wild rice. They put some vegetables in here. They've put a little pouch of this looks like black pepper, but it's actually sesame, white and red sesame. Might even be some nigella seeds in there. A little bit of fruit, so a little bit of apple or pear. That's a bit small. It's usually quite a bit bigger than that. And in this little
lucky dip
silver wrap, they put the meats. So this one, Michelle, we can't really eat this on. That's your chicken.
Oh,
so that is Michelle's teriyaki chicken. Now, what's nice? Oh, that smells so good. Oh, that smells so good. What's nice is you can take that chicken and pour it over the rice, which adds loads of flavour to the rice.
And then you pour your little pouch over.
Do you want that? Shall I show that?
Yeah.
Are you going to have it all?
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the little pouch of. I've had from these guys before. I rate them 5 stars. I always tip the driver. I think it's a great service. And so on top of the rice, and maybe even a little bit on there, that's all Michelle's. This is just black sesame.
It was all mine.
A tiny bit of salt.
Yep.
That is delicious.
I think sometimes it has a little bit of peanut in. Do you think it has peanut sometimes?
No, that's just the sesame. Just the sesame.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got another one here.
Move that one out of the way.
I've got to tip afterwards. Yeah. Sometimes you get some awful deliveries. Like really, I had one the other day. It was an ice cream based drink that we'd ordered. I say the other day, it was quite a long time ago. And the guy had it hanging off the side of his
Hello,
bike
Chris.
up against the hot. G'day, Chris. How are you?
Not too late, never too late.
No, never too late. Chris, we've been ordering grab food. Okay, so
What
let me
one?
have a look at what this one is. And yeah, it arrived. It completely melted. It was just oh, this is my beef. So this is beef teriyaki. So again, it's got a lovely teriyaki sauce. It's got these pieces of. The vegetables are a bit iffy, but they're quite plain, but they're actually quite delicious.
And the other day we had pomelo, didn't we? Today we've got. I think they're running a bit short.
They must be running a bit short. They do close very shortly, so they probably sent the last. Normally they have a big slice of like a little end, a little bit of fruit. For the price is superb. I am going to try a little bit of this, just for you, ladles and jelly spoons. So I'm going to pop some of this. I'm going to put my teriyaki. If I can turn that so you can see, I'm going to put the teriyaki beef, which they put it all separately. So there's a lovely big mound of beef there. Look at that. With the teriyaki sauce.
Yeah, it's good because you can decide whether you want to mix it with your rice, have it on top of your rice, have it separate from your rice. It's very good, isn't it?
Yeah, I need to put my. Well, I have, but I put the phone on top of it, and now I'm covered in sauce. Thank you, sweetheart.
We were sort of organised.
We did organise, but I put my phone on top of the napkins, and then I'm end up smashing my phone. So look at that mountain of beef. And what I tend to do. Okay, let's go back to the drinks a minute. We'll come back to the beef in a second.
So Chris says, I will watch back from the start later, but where are you, Taiwan or Vietnam?
We're in Vietnam, Chris. There's a lot of news, so you're probably going to have to go through. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, but a bit of a spoiler, the food did turn up.
Food did turn up. So what did we order in the end? Oh, this is my ice. No, this is yours.
That's my coconut coffee.
That's your coconut coffee. Well, that looks quite nice.
Yeah.
That looks quite. I'll give them 4 out of 10 compared to what the picture was, but 6, 7 out of 10. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good. And that's your egg coffee without ice.
Okay. They are doing this a lot, which is basically that's my egg foam. So I'm quite happy with that. That's my ice egg coffee without ice. They will have been perplexed by me asking not for ice, but there's a reason behind it.
That must be my straw, because
technically
it hasn't got a spoon on. Yours has got a spoon on.
Technically, that's because they will have made that hot. That will be hot egg coffee.
Yeah.
So this one over here is probably exactly the same.
Yep.
Similar sort of weight. It is. Oh. Okay. So let's get that camera down. We've got egg coffee for chocolate on top, which I'm not too happy about. I don't really want chocolate on top of my egg coffee.
It looks full.
It doesn't look too bad.
No. Do you want to taste my coconut coffee before I do? But you can't have too much.
All right. And I won't mix it because you don't like it mixed.
Mix it. I'm sat in a cafe today, and the guy wanted to mix it for me.
Yeah, because we're every. Oh, that's nice.
No, that's it. That's all you're having.
Oh, that is yummy.
So Larry says, looks appetizing there. Bon appetit, Stephen Michelle.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. And this is the egg coffee. So you've got basically, it is a good one, isn't it?
It's a very good one.
It's a very good one. So you've got this,
bottom there.
You've got this egg foam, and up the, that's delicious. That's a little bit thin. I'm saying delicious, and I don't like this stupid cocoa powder on top. That's completely destroying the flavour. But look at that.
The Twilight Storm guitar and stuff says, okay, I have to look up egg coffee after this. Well, earlier in the stream, I did do a link.
There is a link.
Find it again.
To how to make egg coffee. Now, that is really strange, Michelle, because I'm going to give you a little taste of that and see if you can taste what I can taste. Just roll it around your tongue. Go back and sit down, and I'm going to see if you can pick it up.
There's something in there.
Can you get that flavour? It's very unusual. I've not seen anyone use that in egg coffee before.
No, I don't know what it is, but it is definitely something that's a bit weird.
It's not weird. It's honey.
Ah, yes.
Can you taste it?
Yes, I can.
It's honey. They've used honey.
Now you tell me.
Yeah, it's obvious, isn't it? So they've used honey instead of sugar. And that's probably why the foam is a little bit on the light side.
A little bit thin, isn't it?
I'm glad I've gone for the ice. They'd normally fill this with ice. I find the ice just gets in the way. You kind of like having to dig around it. And there's something very strange about Vietnamese ice as well. That ice that's in Michelle's cup there, that'll stay solid even on a warm Vietnamese day for about 4 hours. It never defrosts.
It never melts.
Melts, sorry, yeah.
Which is good when the delivery driver's delivering it.
Mm.
Okay, I'm just finding that
Right.
egg coffee.
There is honey in this. And I'd only give this around about 6 out of 10 as well. And the reason being is because it should be thicker. You should almost be able to stand your spoon up in the egg coffee. It should be very dense. And that could be just because of them sending it out to me. So what the Vietnamese generally do is they take their coffee.
Just a minute. Julie says, I'm going to have to run. It's a Walmart grocery shopping day. Watch the end later. Bye, Julie.
Bye, Julie. So I'm going to mix the coffee in now with the egg foam. So I was talking a little bit, my food's going cold here. I was talking a little bit about egg coffee. You're basically taking an egg yolk and sugar. In this case, I think they've used honey. And you're blending it up a little bit like an eggnog. You have to whip it until it becomes like a stiff cream. You can add a tiny little bit of salt in as well, just to sort of, if you want to, to me, it works quite nice with a little tiny pinch of salt, a bit like salted caramel. And then you put that on top of a very strong Vietnamese coffee. Usually, and I think this one's sweetened already. I prefer my coffee unsweetened, so I prefer that if that was dark and no milk in it at all, because I think it's sugar on sugar on sugar. It gets a little bit too intense. But
we've said, haven't we, that you could probably use eggnog if you don't want to go to the trouble of whisking it all up. It would make a nice
because this time of year in a lot of Western countries, particularly in Europe, maybe in America, you're going to see eggnog coming into the shops. I would say eggnog is very similar. If you get a thick eggnog, if you get proper eggnog, as I think I've got a video showing you how to make eggnog that's light as a cloud. You could take that eggnog, not the stuff you buy in the cartons in the US, which pours like a drink, but the stuff that is almost like a cloud, you know, you spoon it up, but it's very light. You could pop that on top of an espresso shot. The only thing you'd need to make sure, if you really want the traditional Vietnamese, is to use Vietnamese coffee, because their coffee is quite specific. Firstly, it's very darkly roasted. Secondly, it's 99% of the time it's Robusta beans rather than Arabica beans, so it's a little sour, a little bitter and smoky, and that's why they sweeten it, because it like a French roast coffee, it's a little bit harsh if it's not sweetened. So if you took an espresso or a drip coffee, no, not a drip coffee, it has to be like a really rich, thick coffee. So if you actually had a cafe thin, let me just go over here. So if you have a one of these little,
it's coming back.
I am coming back. These little cafe thins. So this is a little sort of cylinder with a wet, with a almost like a tea strainer on the bottom of it. The little silver cup sits on top. You put maybe 2 or 3 teaspoons of coffee into this thing, damp it down a little bit, pop this little weight on top of the coffee, and then top that up with hot water and just let it sit on top of your cup, and it drips through. Sorry, this is just
I've just washed it.
Michelle's just rinsed that one through, so it's dripping all over the place. But yeah, that would drip then into your coffee over about 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. Sometimes it's sometimes if you put too much coffee in, it comes through so slow that you end up with a cold cup of coffee. But if you get the balance just right, that will drip through, and then you add your eggnog on top of that. You're going to end up with the perfect egg coffee. Now,
so Chris says, I think they put salt in the ice to keep it from defrosting.
Generally, when they put salt in they could do. I mean, it does actually change the defrosting rate, but it doesn't taste salty. They generally add salt in with rice, in with ice when they're using it to churn ice cream, because the temperature gets colder, you can actually water freezes at a higher temperature when it has a little bit of salt in it, so it makes it a colder ice, and that's why you often see these ice cream churns with salted ice in them. So there is something about the ice.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't melt.
It just doesn't melt. But you're probably right. And they may add a little bit of salt or something similar to salt to slow down the melting process, because I'll need to research it.
Yeah, because there's still quite big pieces in my coffee here.
Oh, that's delicious coffee. But I've basically got 2 cups of this, a thin board coffee, and this one, a thin board coffee. And that's why I ordered 2. Michelle's got a whole cup of coffee.
Yeah, but it's full of ice. So technically I've got the same as him, but because I've got the ice in, it looks like I've got more.
That's not a bad one. Actually, I'd probably give this about
Okay.
7 out of 10. I'm definitely going to tip the driver.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, he was really smiley because he came up as the other one was already there. He sort of came up and smiled, and then
Okay.
I could see my coffees.
Okay. So let me just come over to the food. I'm not going to do a whole. This is not going to be a mukbang video. I'm not eating this. We'll probably wrap up fairly soon, but let's come down here.
Chris says, I could be wrong, but I think there is a different type of salt, like a potassium salt, which doesn't give a salty taste.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Another salt. So we've got these lovely bits of teriyaki beef here. Tender. And now what's happened is the gravy. What I tend to do is I'll take some of this sticky rice. It's a very sticky, dark black rice. And I pop it into this one because there's gravy in the bottom of this one where there was a hole in the foil. So I'll pop some of that down there.
So Ruby said lots of beef.
There's a fair bit of beef
it's a good
there.
portion, isn't
It's
it?
a good portion.
Pay, yeah.
Very good portion. So I'm going to take some of this wild rice. Crazy wild rice. But I'm also going to have a little chat with you.
So Twilight Storm's Guitar and Stuff says, I think I have everything to try. Thanks again. That's for the egg coffee. I gave the recipe and you checked it out.
I love this rice. This is a black sticky rice, glutinous rice as they call it. It doesn't have gluten in it, but it has glutinous texture. So this is when you cook this, and you can cook this in 10 minutes, it's the same cooking method that I use for all my rice. So there's a video I have up there showing you how to cook any rice, even this wild rice, 10 minutes max after it's come to the simmer. It works perfectly. And so it doesn't need a lot of cooking. And this will give off, it will turn the water, when you rinse it, it'll turn the water red. So you do need to rinse this quite a lot. There's a lot of starch in this rice. It's like little bubbles popping, because each of the rice granules has the husk on the outside. So it's got a little like good quality brown rice quite often
nutty,
has the it's nutty, isn't it? Got a nutty flavor, and what I can describe as purple. It's got a purple sort of flavor, almost like you only get with sweet potatoes. You know, there's a flavor you get with sweet potatoes, good quality sweet potatoes. It's a bluiness, hard to describe. A combination of nuts, but not peanut nuts. It's more towards a hazelnut, like a plain pepita hazelnut. Those softer nutty flavors. It's delicious. And I'm a big lover of rice anyway. I don't really need the gravy on it. I'm quite happy to eat this sort of rice almost just on its own. And somebody said earlier in the comments, was it on here or on a different video? I can't remember. Somebody was saying about the pork floss I think it was in the comments on one of the YouTube videos recently, having the pork floss with just a little white rice.
Yes, yes.
To me, that's perfect. It's a little bit of salty pork floss with some delicious, just plain steamed or perfectly cooked Steve's Kitchen 10-minute any rice. I always get into trouble because people say, "Oh, it doesn't work." It does work.
I'll put the link up. Follow it exactly, and it should work. It will work.
One of the problems people do is they don't have the proper pans. If you want to do 10-minute rice, you can't have a pan with a very thin base, because the problem with a thin base pan is if you do it on gas, wherever the gas comes up and touches the pan, it gets hot, and wherever it doesn't touch, because it doesn't distribute the heat very well on a thin bottom pan, even on an electric hob or an induction hob, the heat is very poorly distributed. So you end up with boiling when it shouldn't be boiling. And so you can imagine with a slightly thicker pan, the whole surface of the metal gets to the same temperature. So the rice is receiving the right amount of heat. So 10 minutes, you bring it up to a simmer, let the rice just start to sort of dance on the edges. Put a tea towel or any sort of muslin cloth over the top just to seal the lid. Pop the lid on, fold the tea towel over the top. At this point, you should have the gas or turned off, because you'll set fire to your tea towel, as people keep telling me.
As Chris says, I've been using your rice method for 5 years. It works every time. I use an electric hob.
Exactly. And with electric hob, Chris, was that Chris?
Yes.
With electric hob, it's just as easy. I mean, I tend to find with most electric hobs, it's sometimes worth taking it off the hob and putting it onto another low temperature, because electric hobs don't turn down very quickly, but they do work.
Oh, thank you, Tony. She just said, I just sent you a few euros so you can have a couple more coffees on me. So good to see you both looking so well. Hungry now and off to make food.
Oh, Tony, thank you, sweetheart.
She just sent us a PayPal donation through. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Ruby says, do you soak the rice?
No, you don't need to soak it, Ruby.
You wash it, that's
all. You wash it. I mean, depending, you don't have to wash rice.
No.
The only problem when you don't wash rice, particularly if you start using maybe sushi rice or short grain rice, is that you end up leaving a lot of starch in the rice. Never buy the pre-cooked, the easy cooked rices that they sell. They take just as long to cook, and they've washed a lot of the nutrients out of the rice, and even sometimes pre-cooked and re-dried them. So don't buy those rices. Yeah, I mean, if you want if you're doing a dinner party and you have friends coming around, then rinse the rice. Rinse it till most of the cloudiness has come out. If you're just cooking at home, you don't have to over rinse the rice, Sushi rice, sometimes a little bit more, because there's loads of carbohydrates in there. It'll wash off. You get that. It can take a long time to get all that cloudiness out. But you don't have to really overdo it. I mean, sometimes people take it. If you make it too complicated, you won't want to do it, right? And if you're cooking for a family or you're cooking for yourself, you don't want to make it complicated. Quick rinse, quick shake, pour it out, little rinse again, pour it out, one more rinse, pour it out. You're done. It shouldn't take more than 30, 40 seconds to rinse the rice through. If you're doing it for a competition or a dinner party, you might want to take 3 minutes to rinse the rice. Now, I'm going to pop this beef just over here, because I'm sure all of you, like me, are wanting to see what the smoked...
So Chris says, if you turn the electric hob right down before it fully starts to boil, you can keep it on the same hob and it works fine. Well
done, Chris. Good. See, I love it when people come up with the variations of what I'm teaching and then come up with a solution. And that's a great. So you're preempting the heat, Chris. You're saying, okay, I know the hob's going to stay hot. I think that's a great example of somebody thinking ahead, right? Because if I try to teach that, people are saying, well, when do I turn it off? Is it, you're preempting. All you're trying to do is bring that water up to right the cusp of boiling. So if you pop that electric on and you say, okay, I know it's going to start boiling it's going to start bubbling after a minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on how many cups of water and rice you're cooking, of course. And you're saying, so if I turn that down halfway, it's still going to come up to the boiling temperature, and then I can just turn it down. What a great tip. I like that. That's very good. Very good. Anyway, let's get in and have a look. Just park the chopsticks. Can you see what I've done there? Park the chopsticks in the sticky rice.
They're your own chopsticks, aren't they?
They are the ones we travel with. We have a little traveling. Oh, look, sticky rice, plain, sticky, glutinous. Wow. Oh,
I thought I might as well tip mine out here in the background while you're doing that, because you're making me hungry.
Absolutely, Michelle. It tastes so purple. I love the purple flavour. It's so purple.
I've been eating all the vegetables with the sesame and things on top of it. It's delicious.
Okay, so we've got the same. We've got a little bit of fruit just back here, a little bit of fruit. This is actually a little Asian pear.
I think, yeah, the Chinese pear, isn't it?
Great little palate cleanser.
It's nice. It just adds that it's a little bit extra, isn't it? That you know, they don't have to do that, but it's nice.
And this one has got, oh, that's gone too far down, hasn't it? It's got smoked goose. I think that's what I ordered, didn't I? Did I order smoked goose or smoked duck?
Goose, I think.
Oh. So, bear in mind that Michelle's meal over there, my teriyaki meal here, and this smoked goose with the palate cleanser. Well, this is a slightly different. I got better vegetables in this one, Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some carrot, and I got my chopsticks are stuck. So I got some. Did you have carrots with yours?
Oh yeah, that's the same as what I've got.
Okay, same
Just
as
checking
what
you
you've
didn't
got.
have anything different. I think you must have run out of carrots on your one.
Hmm.
It is good.
Mine was all just the gourd. I think it was like not a bitter gourd, but something similar.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a little look here. So I've got a piece of smoked goose, and they're clearly using the goose breast, and it smells smoked. Yeah, it's got a lovely smoky flavour. There's a layer of fat around the outside of the goose.
Is it good?
It's very good. Do you want to try some?
I will.
Let me get you a nice pink piece.
I've got a fork.
Try that.
Mm.
Nice, isn't it?
Oh, that is very good. Very tender.
Very tender. So yummy, yummy smoked goose with, again, I've got quite a bit of it. I'm just going to move the goose off. The only thing I'd say, I would have liked to sauce, and I think you could actually have, but let's just go in and get this sticky, yeah, a little sauce just to, no, probably doesn't need it. I probably would. You see, I'm used to when I do duck breast or something, making a little cassis or something, making a deglazing the pan with a little bit of sauce, making a little roux, a little gravy to go on top there.
I'll show you. I have eaten all my veggies. But look, that's my chicken.
That's lovely. Let me try your chicken. Can we get a small piece? I don't take a small piece.
Small piece.
Oh, they're all big.
They're all huge.
Okay, let me try your teriyaki chicken. Oh yeah,
It's very
that's
good,
very
isn't it?
sweet.
Very good.
Very sweet. What's the name of this guy, Mr.
Eco.
Mr. Eco?
Healthy Eco.
Healthy salad or something like that.
Something like that, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, highly recommend. If you're in Hanoi, and I think they've got like 3 branches.
Yeah. Mr. Eco Healthy Food.
There we go. I highly recommend this. This company.
So Chris says, does goose taste similar to duck?
A little similar to duck. It depends.
I suppose it's like chicken and turkey.
Yeah,
Duck
that's a
and
very
goose.
good analogy, Michelle.
You know, it's similar, isn't
it's
it?
similar. Personally, I prefer duck.
Duck.
You see, there are different ducks as well, so you've got to be careful. There are 2 kind of varieties of duck generally in the world. There is ducks that come from the Savage, the southern American ducks, which are you'll often see ducks in markets here in Asia or in Europe with like a gnarled beak. So on top of the beak, they've got this sort of like gnarled, and they're in France we call them canard sauvage, wild duck, and all those ducks are basically genetically connected to each other throughout all the different varieties. They're connected. The other ducks are more the European, and they go all the way across to Southeast Asia. The plain are sort of wild ducks, and these all the way from your mallards and drakes and they're all slightly connected. You know, they're all, I think genetically they all come from the same family. They're two types of ducks. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is because while I just get and eat some of it, this is, I'm sorry, I'm drooling. That's so nutty. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because the South American duck, the wild savage duck, actually roosts in a tree at night. So when it sleeps at night, it flies up into a tree and it roosts. And because of that, they have a much stronger muscle group and a different wing formation than the standard duck, which is your Indian runners, your name some ducks. They're all interactive. These ducks tend to more sort of paddle around, and they'll sleep in the grass banks and things, or they make nests on the ground. Your South American, your savage, the one with the sort of knobbly nose, technically they shouldn't be kept in the same environment as these other ducks because they want to get up into a tree away from Mr. Wolf, and they make their nests up in trees. And
which says Muscovy.
Muscovy, yeah, I think that's the English word for it, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I get confused because I learned a lot about my meats and things in other countries. So I kind of probably learned more about when we used to keep ducks, when I used to breed ducks and keep ducks, we were actually living in France. So I was using French terms for it. And it is a Muscovy duck. You're right. I think that's the South American duck. They roost up in trees. So they're a different bird. They're very, although they look similar. Now, that really changes the meat on the animal. So you're looking, so those Muscovy ducks, oh man, can I just Google Muscovy, Michelle, make sure I'm talking about the right one? The best breast meat. So when you ask me to compare this goose to duck, in my mind, I'm going with a...
Yeah, you are. It's the one with the knobbly.
Okay, so in my mind, I'm going with a Muscovy duck. Muscovies, no. Muscovies are much better than this, just much better meat. But if you look at a general duck, you know, the duck you often see in Peking duck and a lot of the ducks they do in Southeast Asia, no, there's not a lot of difference because they're a weaker duck. They have a weaker chest muscle, breast muscle. They're very flavoursome still, but they're not as, they're similar to the goose. They're a little bit, and a lot of these geese are not flight geese. So they're not like the Canadian geese that are flying from, you know, doing the oh, there's so much I can talk about geese and ducks. With a migrating goose, they fatten up for the migrational path, and then they lose a lot of their weight. So they're a very different type of meat. They have a slightly tougher. And am I going on too much about this? Is this boring? Sorry, I get very passionate about food. Anyway, thing is, no, and this is smoked. So they smoked it, very delicious, yum yum. I'll save a bit of that for you, Michelle, if you want to have. We've got two, an extra dish if anyone's like in Hanoi wants to come and join us. And then when you've finished all that, you've got a little bit of fruit. It's a bit dry. It tastes like a
dry apple.
Yeah, like a Chinese apple, like a Asian pear, Asian apple. Not a lot of sweetness, not a lot of liquid inside that, but it's really quite delicious.
Quite nice afterwards, isn't it?
It's really nice. And then the vegetables that they sent the other day were slightly different to this. I thought they had more variety, but we've got some little carrots. And I'm going to say I probably preferred the teriyaki beef that's over here. So let's just bring that one over.
I think they tend to use the vegetables and the fruit that's in season.
Yeah, this beef here, let me get a nice was my choice. Lovely. Very tender.
So Ruby says, I think I realized that I might be allergic to sugar. Every time I eat candy, my tongue gets numb and tingling.
Ruby, that may be something else. It could be sugar. I mean, I don't know if people... I don't think sugar is a common allergy.
A common allergy?
A common allergy. I don't think it's a common allergy, but there are often other products that are used in...
Could be the colorings, couldn't it? And things.
It could be the food colorings in sweets. It could be that a lot of certain types of sweets use bicarbonates and things in to rise them. So you could have could be the sodas that are causing that to you. Could be any number of things. What we need to do, Ruby, is sit down together and eat all the sweets until we find out what it is.
The elimination.
Now, our dear friend Rick is if you're following Rick, and I know a lot of you do, Rick Van Man on YouTube, he's cutting sugar out of his diet at the moment, and he's trying to eliminate all sugar from his diet. So we don't have a lot of sugar in our diet, but I have got a weakness for biscuits. So yeah, I think just test it. I mean, the best way to test that, Ruby, would be just to get a little, I wouldn't advise doing it too often, but just to get a little bit of just plain sugar. So you could try just like white granulated sugar, pop it on your tongue, not too much, just, you know, let it melt on the roof of your mouth and your tongue, see if it has that effect. Try it also with a brown sugar or demerara sugar, just to see if it's any of the tannins and the sort of like those, well, it doesn't really change, does it? It's just got lesser, it's got more minerals, and they shouldn't have any effect on you. But there are different brown sugars. Some of them are bean browned and some of them are more raw sugar. So you probably look for raw sugar and see. But I doubt those are the things. But you can very easily test it because you can very much isolate sugar. It's not, as
Chris says, there's sugar in everything: fruit, meat, veg, meats. Even I think people react to food additives more than anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were talking about this just this morning with my dear friend Rick, because he's cutting out sugar altogether, and he was saying recently that he's got cravings for bacon. Now, Michelle and I used to raise pigs and make bacon, and we also used to do. I wrote a cookery book on charcuterie and how to make different types of bacon, so got quite a lot of knowledge about bacon making. And when he was talking to me, he's saying, I've got this craving for bacon. I thought, well, that's because bacon has sugar in it, almost always exclusively has sugar. And I don't mean it has natural sugars. When they cure bacon, some processes use a wet cure, but most processes use a dry cure, which means they're packing basically sugar and salt and seasoning whatever they decide to do, peppers, onto the bacon, and that leaches those two, because sugar is a preservative and salt is a preservative in their own rights. So a lot of that leaches into the bacon, and it does mean that you've got quite a lot of some bacons, some cheaper bacons, not even necessarily cheaper bacons, have quite a lot of sugar in them. Some bacons have a very small amount of sugar in them, but they do nonetheless have non-natural pure processed sugar in the bacon.
Added sugar. Added sugar.
Yeah, it's not like the caramelization. If you do a steak and you cook a steak and get that lovely dark caramelization, they are natural glucose. No, not glucose. It's not glucose, but they are natural sugars that are in the meat. This is meat. This is sugar that's added. So it's not unusual. But who was it who just said sugar's in everything?
Chris,
it is. Sugar is in so many things that, you know, particularly processed food, because most processed food manufacturers, certainly historically, have always tried to produce foods to hook you onto them. So even with breads, even for your Hovises and your sort of like your famous breads, used to use quite a lot of sugar. Two reasons: sugar creates a brown crust. Not a lot. I mean, we're not putting tablespoons, but a small amount of sugar in the bread gives you a nice brown and sweet crust. You might not think it tastes sweet, but it can be very slightly. I'm not talking about a lot of the Asian breads which we have here that are super sweet. But there's sugar in everything, so it's hard. It's a hard product to avoid. They use it in processing all sorts of meats. They use it in processing all sorts of pickles. Anything you buy, like a pickles.
It's got your thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Ruby says she's going to try what you said about the sugar.
Yeah, so try that. Any other questions? Have I got?
And Chris says, I remember looking at beef jerky it's behind the heart. In Tesco's, it was almost 40% sugar.
And yet it's very easy to make beef jerky with no sugar at all. I don't put sugar in my beef jerky, I don't think.
No.
Don't remember using. No, so it's very easy to make beef jerky without sugar. And it's actually not that difficult to make bacon without sugar.
No.
The reason people tend to use sugars is because, you know, when you think of bacon, it's maple bacon or sort of, you know, hickory smoked maple bacons and things like that. Those things are, it's not that they've used maple wood, it's they've used maple syrups and maple flavorings and sweeteners because they want to make their bacon taste better than the other person's bacon. So yeah, there's a lot of sugars that are used to try and hook you into trying to eat things, but there's no actual reason to have sugar in bacon. You can actually make very good bacon. I was saying to Rick just the other day, I kind of wish I was back in the kitchen. So when people bring this up, I can go to the kitchen, make a very specialized video and show you how to make, you know, bacon without sugar. It's not difficult to do. Not complicated. Anyway, I think we've been on for quite a while.
Yeah, hour and a half. I was just thinking, hour and a half. Probably time to get going.
It probably is, Michelle.
Put my coffee.
Oh,
another question. Can you
sorry, I haven't got my glasses on now.
Okay. So Chris says, I make a sort of bacon lardon from pork belly. I salt it for a few days, let it dry out in the fridge for another few days, then cut it into cubes, fry it. Very similar to lardon.
Who said that?
Chris.
Lardons. That's very Italian, Chris. I mean, you can. There is a. When you're in, don't come start sucking that in my ears, you. I'll tell you when you can come over.
Okay.
I haven't finished yet. We were talking just the other day how we are so much more like just best mates who occasionally have a little bicker than we are. Anyway, I've got the rice bubble stuck down in between my tongue and my teeth here. Doesn't want to come up. Lardons or lardo. It's hard. I can't do my Italian. I can't roll my R's unless I sort of walk on one leg. But lardo is a very particular and beautiful. Comes from the back fat of particular pigs. You can do it with any pig, but you know, particular pigs make great lardo. So when I go to Italy to visit friends, we often have this pure white fat, which is called lardo. I can do it better when I'm with Italians because they'll say it, you say it back to them, and you get the thing. So that is, yeah, it's delicious. It doesn't sound delicious, but it's absolutely delicious. And it's also made. How did Chris? Can you read that Chris's question out again, or Chris's statement?
I can. He says, I make a sort of bacon lardon from pork belly. I salt it for a few days. I let it dry out in the fridge for a few more days. Then I cut it into cubes and fry it. Very similar to lardon.
Yes, that's what he's saying. So it is actually very similar to a very simple pancetta or something like that as well. So you're taking, and pork belly is such a good cut to make bacon with. It's not my favorite cut. There's another cut I have which is my favorite, and only some of you might know that. And if you want, you can leave that comment, and if it doesn't come now in the live stream, maybe somebody will say it later. I'm not going to say, but there's another cut of pork that I think makes even better bacon. But certainly pork belly
I was just about to say it, but then you said that.
No, I'm going to see if anyone says it. But yeah, do your homework. So yeah, I mean, you can actually use, because the what's that?
Chris got it. No idea how to spell it.
Is he written guanciale?
Yes.
It's good. Do
attempt.
Guancile. Yeah. So guanciale is from the pig's cheek. Oh, such good bacon, and basically it's a very heavily fat intensified. There are points where you get to the end of the guanciale and it's just fat, but it's still delicious, and it's the best bacon for making a carbonara with, and it's the traditional bacon for making a carbonara with.
Chris has been paying attention.
Chris, well done.
You got top marks, star pupil.
Full brownie points. So yeah, I like that. That's a great tip. And Chris, that's the best cut that you're using there as well. It's you know, a good pork belly. I mean, streaky bacon, and pretty much the whole of if you talk about the traditional back bacon, the old bacons used to be back, middle, and streaky. So you used to take from the back of the pig all the way around to the center, and a piece of bacon used to be about that long. So you had the loin section up here, which was called the back bacon, and then right down the end you had what was called streaky bacon, which is the belly. It comes right the way through to the belly, and that was always the preferred. If you want really good flavoursome bacon, you're going to go for the belly or the streaky bacon. And then there's middle as well. A lot of younger people won't even know what we're on about. I'm sure Chris will. But you used to have back, middle, and streaky. And certainly always the best cut was the streaky bacon. So and there are things, but anyway, but up near the loin, on where the back bacon is, there's a very thick, or there used to be on older breeds of pig. On new breed, they bred it out of a lot of the pigs, so it's getting thinner and thinner because people don't like fat. People don't like flavour with their bacon. So there's a called back fat, which is a very, very tender, very sort of melt in the mouth, almost a candle wax sort of fat that's there, and that is certainly where you're going to get the best. And if you get the chance, Chris, if you ever get the chance, not sure geographically, I can't remember where you are.
Ireland, because you just said you can still get middle bacon in most of Ireland.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, if you're in Ireland, you can probably get some good variety, some butchers that are still selling some of the older breeds. And if you can find an older breed and get some back bacon from, or you don't even have to get back bacon, you can just get the back, you know, you can get a piece of loin, you will find that that'll have that fat that I'm talking about on there. And it's usually, if it's an older variety of pig, whether it's a sort of Tamworth or Gloucester, or, you know, it can be a good sort of inch and a half, you know, 25 centimeters, 35 centimeters thick, and that is really delicious. And the Italians,
my local farm shops has Tamworth meats.
Okay, well, we used to have Tamworth pigs. So
He also says, I wonder, would you get the cheek meat from a butcher? I've never seen it before.
The what?
The cheek meat. It's from the head of the pig, so you need to have the butcher.
You could go to, if you find a butcher, you can ask him to give you, if he doesn't know what, look, you can look at my video. You can take my video that I'm showing how to make guanciale, and you can say, look, this is the cut that I'm looking for. But yes, it is used. I mean, in the UK, it's kind of known. I don't know if it would be known in Ireland as Bath chaps, BATH, Bath chaps. So the butchers may know it as Bath chaps, which is the same. You've got to get
the old-fashioned butchers, though, because I think a lot of them now have the pigs delivered without the heads.
Yeah, there's been regulations since bovine spongy fiddler to take the head away from the carcass before it goes to most butchers. But a lot of good butchers.
But if you've got a farm shop, then.
And actually, a good butcher will know what you want anyway. Because there's a butcher in Australia, a guy that I go to, and we always get good meat from. And when I talked to him about getting the head to make guanciale, he was like fascinated because he knew about guanciale. He didn't know how to make it, and I was trying to show him how to make it. So I was sharing with him my video. And so a good butcher, even in a chain butcher, may well be able to help you out with that. Anyway, before I go rambling on about all sorts of strange things that fascinate me and might not fascinate everybody, if you're watching this back, comment as you're watching along so that you know, I'll try and watch the comments. We talked about, what have we talked about today? We talked about that I started with OBS, but the OBS Studios, which is the software that interacts with YouTube, and I was going to share some videos with you. I would love you to go and watch yesterday's video with the beautiful family in Taichung in Taiwan. Love you to watch that. I think it's a great video, and I think the family was so they're just beautiful girls. There were three sisters there. There are more than three sisters because they're not all the family were there, but three of the sisters were there, and they entertained us. Impromptu entertainment, took us out, had a lot of fun, made a lovely video. I hope you enjoy that. I was going to share some of it on here, but through standard YouTube, I can't do it. We talked about maybe even, you know, whether it would be fun to do some tours. Steve's Kitchen or Steve Owens takes you to Sicily, takes you to Mexico, takes you to France, takes you to Scotland, whatever, and show you around, take you on a sort of like a gastronomical tour, maybe a 7-day, 10-day tour of somewhere. Could happen one day, never know. If there was enough people interested, I might be able to muster up the strength to do it. What else did we talk about, Michelle?
Talked about you maybe doing more videos and
more videos. I'm going to try and do more videos.
Ones.
This is me kicking it off, trying to get in there because I get this flat line that I've had because we've been entertaining family for the last week or 10 days, and we have been bouncing around beautiful hotels and resorts, and I just really have got out of YouTube a little bit. And then we've talked. What else have we talked about? We've talked about we've ordered mediocre over sweet egg coffee. What was your salt coffee, Michelle? What do you think?
Coconut coffee.
Coconut coffee. That was pretty good.
It was very good. It was very good.
We've ordered GrabFood, which is like Uber food, and I think I'm going to review these people 10 out of 10 again. I think the food is wonderful. It's stone cold now because I just tried a little bit. So I can actually, we've got a kitchen where we are, so I can actually warm this up. But this beef and the smoked goose.
Ruby's asking for the link for the mincemeat. I'm just finding it, Ruby. She's being lazy. She said that, not me.
And we've talked about Christmas coming up. I want you to, if you're interested and you love doing your home cooking, think ahead. It's a bit late for a Christmas pudding, but it still you can make great puddings. I just like a year ahead Christmas pudding. Now's a good time to make 4 Christmas puddings for next year. Eat one of them this year, save 3 for next year. And if you don't eat them all, you can save the other 2 for the year after next and the year after next, and you're going to have delicious Christmas pudding. Now's the time to be finishing off. If you haven't started already, you can just about start making your Christmas cakes. Your big Christmas fruit cakes, your mince meats, your gingerbread houses. If you're going to be doing a gingerbread house,
I'm going to put a Christmas playlist link in.
Now's the time to get get the gingerbread, all the stuff in. There's a template on steveskitchen.com if it's still there. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't looked for a long time, but I had a template of a gingerbread house, or make your own, wing it, make your own. We've also got those beautiful, straight as soon as I said, I've got these gingerbread men ice cream sandwiches. Great for Christmas, great for Thanksgiving, great for Christmas.
I've just put the Christmas playlist up. There are 70 recipes in that playlist.
70 recipes, and I think probably loads more. There's even Christmas smoothies that are on that list. So get and have a lot of fun. Christmas is coming. I don't want to start getting sort of ho-ish until the 1st of December. I always think it's bad luck. I might take you out in the streets of Vietnam here and show you how the Vietnamese are starting to all stand, heartsease outside of every Christmas tree, up and down our street and every street around here. I don't think there's a culture of Christmas here. So I wonder if it means anything to anybody. They're all stood outside, pouting, doing the old, what do they call it? Trout pout.
Yes.
And hearts outside. Hearts outside the Christmas trees here. I'm not sure if they get up. If you're from Vietnam, if you're watching this, do the kids get up for Christmas morning? I mean, it's not a traditionally Christian country. So are they getting up and enjoying Christmas? Are they going to midnight mass? Are they doing anything traditional? Probably not, but they're certainly doing the Christmas tree and the Santa stuff. That's all over the place.
Chris says, I always do your Christmas cake.
Yes, Christmas cake.
Ruby says exciting. I don't know what's exciting. Is it Christmas is exciting?
Oh, all the stuff we're talking about is exciting, isn't it, Ruby? Everything's exciting.
Hit the thumbs up for me.
Hit the thumbs up. 2 thumbs up gives me fireworks. I have no idea why. I think it's something to do with my Mac rather than YouTube. 1 thumbs up, and you guys all hitting that thumbs up will give you a see if when you hit the thumbs up, and don't do it twice because I think that takes it down. Thumbs up gives you a thumbs up and a bubble. And I think this does something as well. Does this give you something?
I'm not sure.
No.
Chris said, do they sell any Christmas foods in Vietnam, like cakes, etc.?
We've just gone, when we were in Vietnam last time, before we went to Taiwan, there was the a kind of harvest festival. So they were doing sort of the amazing first young rices. It's not a traditional Christmas. They don't celebrate Christmas really in this part of the world. This is a
Ruby
sort
says, what religion is Vietnam?
I think there's a mixture. There is Christianity here, but there's also Buddhism and Taoism. I'd have to Google it. One of you might have to Google, and I may not still be online to hear the answer because I am going to wind this up. But I think, you see, some people have said to me, I have heard it said, so you probably are going to get your answer up before I finish. But some people have said to me, it's got a high Christian. There's a lot of Christians here in Vietnam.
They've got Buddhists, Catholics,
I'm not sure I agree.
Islam.
I mean, there's certainly not a perception that this is a particularly Christian country.
Well, see, Google says the majority of Vietnamese do not follow any organized religion.
So a little bit agnostic, I think. That's the way I sense it being an agnostic country. I feel that there's...
So they said instead participating in one or more practices of folk religions, such as venerating ancestors or praying to deities, especially during Tet or other festivals. Yeah,
so there's a lot of what we would classify as sort of paganish festivals. There's a lot of, and when I know there's a connotation to pagans. I consider myself almost pagan, so I don't think it was a bad thing. Just traditional, in touch with earth, in touch with the moon, in touch with the seasons. A lot of that, a lot of seasonal celebrations here in Vietnam. But yeah, they're certainly, I think it's a little bit like how the world has started to, when we were, I won't even say when we were younger, probably 10 years ago, there wasn't no such thing as Black Friday. Now it's everywhere. Black Friday is everywhere. It was a very much an American sort of, I think, a Thanksgiving stroke sort of, harvest festival, Black Friday. Now that's everywhere. Halloween's getting everywhere. Christmas is getting everywhere. So it's going to countries where traditionally, you'll even find probably even in predominantly Muslim countries such as Malaysia, you'll see Christmas trees all over the place. So, riddle me that. Anyway, love to you all. And from Michelle and I.
Can I say thank you, Larry, for the super chat?
Thank you, Larry.
And thank you, Tony, for the PayPal donation.
Thank you very much. And you've got a little thumbs up from Michelle there as well. All right. See you. I might try and get another video up tomorrow. If I don't, I'll definitely live stream again in the next 48 hours. Take care. See you shortly. Do check out yesterday's video. Be good.
Bye.
See you next time. Oh, we got to hang on.
Hang on. End. No?
Hang on.
Hang on.
Because we find when I hit the end on YouTube, it stops 2 minutes ago. So let's stop. Let's have a little pause for thought. A minute silence. A minute silence for YouTube.